what are some advancements in technology, Seth, that you have noticed that can allow for that relationship with the client to just continue to blossom?
It's a great question, Thomas. And I think it just underscores the importance of the right tool for the job, because what's the purpose of whatever the technology tool is? If it's meant to allow you as the attorney more freedom to interact with the client directly and answer questions and make sure that that client feels well cared for, then I think it's a good technology tool. And so one of the things I think that's been really helpful that we've used a lot in our office this year are the Plod AI recorders. And so I will come into a meeting with that recorder that does AI based transcription in the back end on the recording. Obviously, get that consent or make sure you're using discretion of when to use that, or if not, depending on the client situation and the confidentiality concerns that may be there. So we could talk about all that, I suppose, at a different time, but hopefully our audience is aware of that data security and client confidentiality, all that fun stuff, right? But that tool enables you to pay more attention to the body language, to the physical realities of the space that you're in. What was the comment that made the client shut down? What was the client that lit the client? What was the comment that lit the client up and got them excited about the possibility of whatever was happening? What was something that you said that caused them to look confused? You can see all those things if you're not head down taking notes because you don't want to forget it, because you don't want to have to call them later. It slows down, I think, and increases the quality of that first client consult. And that's one big tool that has been helpful and has that AI component on the back end that takes all that information and sorts it, puts it together into a meaningful summary that you can go, wow, that really did a good job of encapsulating what it was that we were talking about.
Yeah, you got me on the Plod bandwagon a few weeks ago, and I can't imagine not using it at this point. So, I'll get consent from the client and ask, can I use this recording device? And then I've never had anybody say no. And so we use that. And then I like to use it with estate planning clients because, I talk about, okay, you got this asset, you got this house, you've got this rental property, you've got these IRAs, you've got this brokerage account, you got these checking accounts. It's so important from an estate planning context that the client knows what to do with each particular asset so that their trust is funded. I go through all of their assets and I'm recording this. So I'm not just talking generally about bank accounts. I'm saying like the bank account at Chase Bank and the brokerage account at Charles Schwab. And then that, produces a summary at the end. And, it's a summary of everything that happened in the meeting. But what I've started to do is, I take that summary and I will say, convert this into a one-page checklist for the client for funding their trust. And I usually do that through, Office 365 or some other AI program, and it comes up with just line items of what needs to happen, and maybe even produces a box that they can check off, and maybe even will give them a deadline as to when it needs to be done, and maybe an order of operations. I'll tell you what, I have that conversation with the client, and then that conversation happens before everything is signed. And then at the signing appointment, I've got that checklist and I'm able to say, okay, we talked about all of this. This is what actually you need to do. And you can put that into different contexts. I mean, you could say, any kind of meeting, if it's litigation, family law, child custody, discovery, things that have to happen. If you can just tell the client verbally and then it can spit out a summary, that's going to save you the headache of, having to go back in an email and summarize what you already said. I think, 6 to 8 months ago on our podcast, I was saying that's what I do. I was saying, have a conversation, and then I will take my notes, and then I'll dictate, and then I'll have AI spit out an email that summarizes everything that needs to happen. But now it's already, I've skipped a step or two, and it has just been amazing. The thing is, clients forget what I say all the time, particularly when it comes to funding a trust. And if you can have that checklist that summarizes the conversation, it's going to help your clients be better informed and take your advice better going forward.